Who was the guy who sent it in?
His name is William Knight.
Yep. And he had a situation in which, I believe from memory, a burrito was thrown over his back fence, he believes, allegedly, into his pool. And he thinks there's no access from the street to throw a burrito into the pool. So he's accused one of his 3 neighbors who have their fences backing onto his backyard.
That's right. He's got someone behind him and then one person either side. So there's 3 suspects here.
And we launched a little investigation on the show, but at the time we didn't have enough evidence. We said, Dylan, we want a full, we want a layout of the house. We want to know who was in the house at the time, because I mentioned that it could be an inside job. He's accusing the neighbors, but has he questioned his family? And we just wanted to know all the different variables that were at play here before we properly launch into this investigation on the show. And boy, oh boy, William has delivered during the week. He has sent us the most detailed investigation, description of the burrito incident we could have possibly asked for. So we are about to launch.
This guy's done a school report on it. This is how bored William must be in
He's doing extracurricular activities for our podcast.
We asked him to send us an email with more information. William, the absolute loaf, has come back with a 5-page report that's not only 5 pages, but it's also laid out really well. It's got graphics and images in it. Starting off here, Luke, I would like you to play the investigation music to set the theme. Good. Burrito investigation. Headline 1. Burrito science. The burrito was completely intact in the pool. Seems as if there was no damage whatsoever apart from a small bite. Note that at this time, it sunk to the bottom of the pool and did not float. It is of my belief that it is impossible for a burrito to travel more than 5 meters in the air without dismantling/unwrapping. Now, we asked him if this was a homemade burrito or an Uber Eats burrito. The way the burrito was made, extremely well wrapped, lettuce was cut in the way that fast food normally does. The sauce was incredibly strong, much like commercial sauce. This is good. William's obviously tasted the burrito.
Hang on, why did he taste a burrito that had been in his pool?
Mate, William's obviously a detective, right? Show some respect.
Yeah, but I would say the first rule of being a detective is don't disturb the evidence like that. Don't touch it.
That'd be
and
bad.
Definitely don't eat it.
Could have been poisoned.
That's true.
Yes.
I appreciate his enthusiasm as a detective, but fucking hell, William, don't eat a wet burrito just to solve this crime.
The wrap did not look like a supermarket or homemade wrap. This indicates that it was from Uber Eats or another delivery service. We also asked him what toppings were on the burrito. The burrito had the following ingredients: beef or pork, spicy sauce, rice, lettuce, potentially beans. So we're not sure about the beans, but it is potentially.
So it could have been a Zambrero's job.
Yeah, well, that's what you might think Zambrero's from first glance, but William's done some more research. Description of the burrito.
Have they had silver, because they've had silver foil around it. They often just do a silver foil and no white wrapping. Okay,
well, the burrito was initially found intact in the pool, which means it could not have been thrown far, and it would have happened recently. Resting on the side of a wall, which means that only the people who did it would have been the ones who were facing the wall, or if they were incredibly accurate enough to drop it in the pool to frame the opposite neighbor.
Oh.
Which is a good bit of investigating here. Now, he thinks that the restaurant is Guzman and Gomez because it's the most popular Mexican restaurant near him, has the cheapest delivery price, and is advertised more than any other Mexican restaurant on Uber Eats. It is my belief that this burrito was from Guzman and Gomez. It was heavily advertised, meaning it was more likely to be purchased by the suspect. The ingredients listed also match those in the advertisement. So
he's done a lot of research here.
He really has. Now that we've described the burrito, I think William's on the right track here. I think it is a Guzman and Gomez burrito, which narrows down the type of person who would order from a Guzman and Gomez, right?
Yeah, which is a Keelan of the world. So if you've got a neighbouring Keelan, The only time I've ever had Guzman and Gomez was at about 2 a.m. in Brisbane with Keelan on our podcast tour last year. You can actually watch the episode of Keelan's Melons. I hate that I just plugged your channel there, but
That's disgusting. Please take it back.
No, we will not put the link in description, and I officially revoke that plug. Do not go.
Keelan, you can comment it from your YouTube account, but we will delete it.
It will not be pinned, and if you pin it because you have access to the account, I will be disappointed.
Okay, so this is the series of events. We asked for a timeline because we didn't know how long the burrito had been there. So he's gotten very serious about this. 7th of April, 6:50 p.m. Last time that anyone was in my backyard. Okay, so then on the 8th of April, 9:28 a.m., burrito was first spotted in the pool, which means it probably occurred very late at night on the 7th of April, or
maybe
really
it was a breakfast
early
burrito.
in the morning.
We have a 14-hour window here. 15-hour almost. 14 and a half.
I would think that Guzman and Gomez doesn't open super early, so I'm thinking this happened at night.
Okay, so maybe look up the closing time. What we need is the closing time of Guzman and Gomez in his area, so then we have a window of opportunity.
That's true.
We have to know how long it was in the pool for as well. How soggy.
Well, I don't think it was in the pool for very long. Because
was it in the pool area? Because
intact.
this is the one thing that is a bit sketchy about this is that he says he's tasted it, yet I would think that if it's been in the pool overnight, as he describes, it would be uneatable by the morning.
That's true. Well, William does mention this. Once the pool cleaner liquid was placed in the pool, the burrito began to fall apart, but most of it was intact.
But how does he know it was spicy sauce? Can you tell that by looking at it?
I think he means strong as in it smelled strong, and he mentions here that it looked like spicy sauce.
Okay, so he hasn't eaten it.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Although I wouldn't put it past him, seeing as his solution to a burrito in the pool is to put pool cleaner in there instead of get it out.
We'll just kill it with acid.
Yeah, like that's going to do anything. All right, so 9:28 a.m., burrito first spotted in the pool. 8th of April, 9:33 a.m., burrito was extracted from the bottom of the pool. Previously to this, burrito was completely intact. I went to move it with a pool cleaner stick. Oh, a stick. Right.
Hang on. Do burritos... Am I stupid here in thinking that the burrito would be floating? I thought burritos would be more buoyant.
Of the pool.
I did assume
it would
that when I
get
heard
soggy. And then
so the weight of the water would actually drag it down slowly.
That's what I think.
Because at first it would have been buoyant, and then it would have seeped in, and then I guess pulled itself under.
William means a pool cleaner stick, not liquid.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just surprised that it was at the bottom of the pool.
That is surprising. Quite a heavy... Well, maybe William needs to buy a burrito from every burrito service in his area
and see which ones floats. But don't do it in the pool. Do it in your bathtub because we don't want to
Actually, why don't we throw that to the
scene.
listeners? Send us on Instagram photos of you buying a burrito from your local burrito place and see if it floats. And tell us how long it takes for it to sink. That's what we want to know. Put it in the top of your bath and let us know approximately what time it sinks to the bottom.
I was going to say, this case is not going to be solved without the help of everyone listening. We have a sound off section here. We have a bunch of sergeants probably already on the case, a bunch of seniors and secret sounders, as well as the regular common folk who listen to this podcast. I would say it's going to be a team effort to help Will get to the bottom of this. And now Will's done his part. It's time to do ours.
Okay, here's what I think. What we're going to do in the Patreon Discord, we're going to set up a new board, and I'm going to post this document minus Will's address because he's kind of doxed himself here. We're going to post the full thing while obscuring where he lives, and we're going to get investigating in the Patreon.
Yeah.
So join that if you want to join the investigation. Right, so 9:33 a.m., burrito extracted. 9:34 a.m., burrito has been confirmed as a burrito.
So what did they think it was? Maybe like a wet kebab?
Well, you would have... There's no way you would think, that's a burrito in my pool. That's never your first thought.
Yeah, it could be souvlaki. It could be anything.
Yeah, it really could be any kind of spherical food or tubular food.
It could have been a rogue hot dog.
That's, true. 9:35 a.m. Burrito has been successfully bagged. Now, we get on to suspects. Note, it was first stated that there were 3 suspects. I was incorrect. There are 6 houses from which the burrito could have been thrown. I initially believed it was only possible it could have come from 3 properties, but looking at this picture from Google Earth, it seemed that there are 5 to 6 properties it could have been thrown from. So this case has just gotten incredibly confusing now.
Right. Well, this is what I think about this is, what are we judging as, again, and this is what we might have to do our own studies on, and I think the crack team on Patreon or whoever is going to have to test this. We need to know what the average trajectory of throwing a burrito is, and maybe try it. And also, it requires height as well, because it needs to be able to get over a fence. So if you're from 2 properties away, can it really clear 2 properties and still have enough height to get over the second fence?
Yeah,
That's a big throw. That is a big throw. I reckon I could throw a burrito maybe like 25 meters, depending on the weight, because I feel like it would start to fall apart. Oh, it depends how tightly wrapped
true.
it is.
If you launch that, you almost need to do 3 tests. Like, you need to do a short throw, a medium throw, and a long.
He did say it was tightly wrapped. So I would say let's assume that it's not falling apart in midair. I reckon I could do maybe a 25 to 30 meter burrito throw, which is actually a lot of backyards.
Luke, on your Uber Eats, do you have a Guzman and Gomez or any kind of like Zambreros or anything? I don't, so I can't actually test this.
I don't think
we're gonna need
have any in my.
We might have to throw it to the listeners. If you have a Guzman and Gomez, is what we're looking for. We want to see a video of you launching a Guzman and Gomez as far as you can to see if it comes apart and see how far it can even be thrown without coming apart.
Yeah, and then as soon as we get an average, so if a few people could do this, send in your results, maybe do 3 throws of it, send in each one, we'll get an average, and then we'll get male, female, elite athlete, thrower. If we could get someone who's good at javelin to do it, and then someone like Lewis who's never done sport, that would be good, so we can get a proper spread.
Actually, you know what else
average
we really need?
Distance.
We really need, obviously, most people who own homes, mums and dads, we're going to need some of you guys to get your dad to launch a burrito as far as they can. Because that's probably realistically a prime suspect in this situation. Most homeowners are older.
True, but I also think, because we're bored in isolation, I would say prime burrito demographic, particularly at night, is someone under 30 drinking. I think if I could test this one, I'm happy to get drunk and throw a burrito, see if that affects the trajectory.
Well, what date was the 7th of April, Ruben?
Was that
can
a
you
Saturday?
Look that up? Was that, if that's a Friday or a Saturday night, we're looking for someone.
I think we have to, if it's. Oh, it was a Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
But it's isolation, man. People are getting drunk. That's the thing. We need to. I reckon we can almost assume that it was a drunk move throwing a burrito into someone's backyard.
Okay, well,
or someone bored and evil like Lewis. Like, you would do that for fun.
I would do that to make the boys laugh for sure. How about this? Okay, we don't want to encourage you guys to get drunk and start launching food. How about this? What we're going to need to see?
Hang on. Speak for yourself. All right.
Well, we have a lot of underage listeners. We have a lot of underage listeners.
I'm not saying everyone. If you're allowed to go to Dan Murphy's and buy a drink, then I fully encourage you to do so, and then throw a burrito as far as you can.
I have an alternative. If you are underage, what we'd like you to do to simulate you being drunk is we would need to see a video purely for science and investigation.
You spin around 5 times and throw a burrito.
Spin around 5 to 10 times until you're dizzy. Launch the burrito. Let us know, A, how far it got, and B, did it come apart during launch? Okay, so William continues, right? It could have come from 5 to 6 properties. Now, we asked him if this could have been an inside job. Now, William says, no Uber Eats was ordered to my house that night. All phones and devices have been checked and nobody has Uber Eats or even another delivery service account. That's strange. That's actually suspicious, I think.
That is very suspicious.
They have all been questioned and managed to adequately account for their actions. Because the burrito was not homemade and no one has a delivery service, it seems this was not an inside job. Okay, very interesting.
America also did a good job of covering it up, you know?
Okay, now this is really great. We're up to the last part of the investigation. This is going to be a long podcast, guys. Strap in, right? The final part, William actually breaks down all of the residents in his neighboring houses for us. So we actually know the type of people that could have launched this burrito. House 1, residents aged 18 to 24. 2 people, male, potentially 3 to 5 people.
Prime suspect.
Yeah.
Right there. That's what I was saying before. It's the you and I quote you, it is something I would do to impress the boys. So I would say they're definitely in the lead.
Evidence against innocence on all of these. I don't know if we can read all of this. We'll post this one to the Instagram so people can have a bit of a think over who they think, but I'll read a couple. So, evidence against innocence. He found a snapped/pulled branch, perhaps to create a clearing to launch the burrito. That's good. Evidence in favor of innocence. Grandma had a chat to them and says they are really nice and sweet, not the type to throw burritos into pools, which I think is enough evidence to find them innocent. Now, this is great. William's got Grandma on the job.
Yeah, but I don't think that grandma, no offense, is the best judge of character because who's an asshole to an old grandma?
Someone who
Like,
would launch a burrito
I would say
into a
you're
pool.
pretty lovable. Your grandma,
Yeah.
thinks you're cute, but you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So I would
yeah,
say
true.
you can. I would say all I'm going to say is it's easy to fool the elderly
Yes, that is true. Okay, all right.
with burrito-based crimes.
All right, well, let's move on to house 2. Residents, newly moved in family. Children are extremely young. Evidence against innocence. A significant break in the trees which lines up perfectly where the burrito landed. Evidence for innocence. Too far away, too many trees in the way, no reason as to why the family would have done it. I don't think the parents would have wasted the food, and let's be honest, toddlers can't throw a burrito 17 meters. That's
Unless
a long
they're like
throw.
a child prodigy. If that, you know what, if that is the case, we've got a future Olympian on our hands, and I think this
That's
is
a
a
shot put
positive
champ.
if it's them. Yeah.
House 3. Elderly/middle-aged couple. Little to no contact with them before. Evidence against innocence. No obstruction in my garden once the burrito is through the gap. Burrito rested on the side of the wall which faced their fence line. Evidence in favour of innocence. No possible motives. No history of being rowdy. Almost impossible to throw the burrito. Too many trees in the way.
See, I
Okay.
feel like that's the thing. I feel like his original 3 suspects are the ones we're looking at here. It just seems like he's added in 3 more houses here to make it 6, but yet he's saying that all these shots would be impossible.
Yeah,
of
it
too
seems
many
like the only
trees.
ones with the good throw is the newly moved in family or the residents aged 18 to 24, house 1. I'm thinking
I reckon
prime
it's-
suspects so far.
Definitely them.
Well, house 4. He doesn't know who lives in house 4. So this is like a wild card. He's got no
Okay.
idea who lives there. Evidence against innocence. They faced the wall which the burrito fell onto. Possible to throw the burrito without obstructions. Break in the tree line. So there's a good shot there. Evidence
do they
in
have any-
favour of- Yeah.
You know what? He hasn't said if anyone has any decks or balconies, because I would say it would be a lot
Yeah,
funnier
true.
to throw it off a deck or a balcony.
Evidence in favour of innocence, no possible motives, no history of being rowdy, lower than our house, meaning the throw would have been harder. There you go, Luke.
An uphill. Yeah, that's the thing. It's definitely an easier throw if you've got
Yeah.
height already on your side to get it over a fence.
House 5, final suspect. 3 generations of family living in one house. Evidence against innocence. Is possible for the burrito to be thrown from their position? There are people who are physically capable enough of throwing it that far. That's not very much evidence. His only evidence for House 5 is like, oh, they could have done it.
Yeah. Okay, but that's fine. He's allowed to slip.
Yeah.
He's done a pretty
Yeah.
well-researched report.
Okay.
Not everything's gonna be
In favour
perfect.
of their innocence, too far away, too many obstructions, Grandma is on friendly terms with them, a deterrent.
I feel like his grandma is just really nice and is on friendly terms with everyone in the neighborhood.
That is true. Well, look, we're going to need to see some. We're going to need to see some video we're going to have to recreate this crime. If the listeners can do that, if you have a Guzman and Gomez that delivers, could you please launch it? Let us know how far you can throw it and if it stays intact. If you have a bath, place it in the bath. Let us know how long it takes for that burrito to sink to the bottom.
That's not really anything to do with the crime. The burrito floating thing, that's just more our personal interest. We just want to know if burritos can float.
Well, no, that helps us nail down the time, whether it was at night or early in the morning.
To see how long it floats.
And also the type of burrito, right? The brand.
Yes, very true.
Okay, so Will, what we need from you is we need the time that Guzman and Gomez closes.
Yeah.
So we can get a window of so we can get a better window as opposed to the 14-hour one that we currently have.
Yeah.
And then, what we need from the listeners is obviously the sync test and a lot of throwing data.
Yes, from all genders and all ages as well.
And also, don't just pace it out. We want tape measurements. We don't want, I reckon I threw it 20 meters because that's too vague. It's not proper stats.
Yes.
We need like hard stats. I know we're in isolation, but you're still allowed to go down to the park. So go down to the park with a burrito and just start throwing it. And trying to avoid dogs and cyclists.
I mean, if you have a neighbor with a pool, I would love to see a video of you throwing a burrito into it. That doesn't have much to do with the investigation. I just think that's kind of funny.
If you are on friendly terms with your neighbor, to only do with permission, but it would be great to see the crime actually being recreated over a fence, which would be good.
Or William, why don't you do it? Knock on the the neighbor's door with a burrito, and give it a go.
And you know what would be great? And look, she may not be up for it, and fair enough, Will, if she's not up to being on the show, but it would be great to hear more from the grandma.
Yeah, that would be good. I think, all right, what we'll do
We'd love to chat with her, but if she's not willing to be on camera or on audio, that's fair enough. And maybe if you could firstly, ask if she wants to come on the show. We have a few questions. Yeah. And secondly, also, I think we're going to have to get Will on.
I think we have to get Will on. What we'll do, I think, is our next episode, we're going to have to go through all of the tests.
Yeah.
And then, after we've concluded that scientific test, we'll have William on the show, run him through the results from what we can see, and see if we can nail down a suspect for this investigation.